This is Commodity Market Analysis by Jillian Walke, Hannah Young, and Brittany Sattler. First, a welcome message will pop up that welcomes the user to our program. And simultaneously, a menu will appear, the first menu, that prompts the user to choose if they want to look at commodity price indices or individual commodity prices. The user is asked
what type of graph they would like to plot.
So, if the user is to choose commodity price indices,
to be able to plot by a certain month
several options will appear.
Based on the range specified
there will be 10
above.
Options.
Plot by the range of years
the user will choose, and depending on which option the user chooses, which commodity price index they want to view,
that is organized by
the years of data available will appear.
Specified by the user.
Now, I executed this
lastly,
menu, first of all, by using two built-in menu functions and then simple if-else-if
So after the menu
statements.
has popped up and the user is chosen,
if the user were to choose
the first one to plot by month,
individual commodity
list
prices,
of months will
similar to the first
and
part of
the user will be
the
asked
menu,
which month they would
the
like
user
to
will
choose.
again be prompted
so let's
with
say the user
many
chooses
options, this time individual
January,
commodities.
The January
again,
graph
they will
pop up
be able to choose
and
which years of
price will be
years of data
for every single
or which
year
commodity they want, and then the years
the
of data
month of
available
January.
for that commodity
For
will
the
show up.
second graph, the user is asked for two separate years based on the range that they're given above. So once the user inputs the first one and the second one, date cell was created to index the certain years that the user chooses, and it is used in the formula in order to plot for those years chosen. For the next graph, years of quarters, the user is asked the same exact thing, which year for the beginning and which year for the end, using the same variables, date cell and date cell 2. However, this time, the graph is divided by the averages for each quarter of each year. Once the averages are taken, they are plotted into the different years specified by the user. So, for example, after the user has chosen a certain index from the IC index, and they choose, let's say, the bar chart for quarters, they will be asked to say what years they would like. And what is shown is the years are 1980 to 2013. So I'm going to put 1980 to 2013. And a bar chart will pop up that is based on the quarters.
In order to import the information from the external data,
the last graph is the bar chart
Excel sheet. I put the external data
that is based on the range of years
Excel sheet
and
into the
an average
folder,
is taken
double-clicked on it, and opened up the
plotted.
import menu. In order to make sure that the strings were separate from the data, I used two different .mat files. First, external data .mat, which is just this information down here. And then also string matrix, which is this information up here. I imported the external data, the numbers, as a matrix, and the strings as a celery. Okay, so that's going to be the first part.
Okay,
this is still recording. My main coding portion was the predictions. So first I had to create an if loop, so it would only do the predictions for the 4 specified commodities: crude oil, copper, cocoa, and aluminum. Then I had to get user input, so it could make a prediction for a certain date. First year, month, and day. Then I created an equation that would assign a cell position to whatever date that was contained. First year to decide which block of 12, month to decide which cell within the block of 12, and then divide day by 30 to have a decimal point. which is within the cell specifically. So first, to create the EMA, I had to create the coefficient K, which is 2 divided by the number of time periods plus 1. Instead of using a for loop, which is a good way to find an EMA using MATLAB, I used the filter function because there's so many data points. This would be much quicker to execute and still come out with a very accurate answer. So I used the remap function to come up with the coefficients to put within the filter function. And then it created the EMA. Because the filter function doesn't take into consideration the moving average that's necessary to put in the first 40 days, I eliminated the first 40 data points. So the data looked correct on when it came out. And then I had to transpose the length of the EMA because it was the wrong way in order to fit it into the polyfit. And I used 30 because I ran the data a few times, and after I looked at the plots, which I deleted the plots for this, but I used it when I was testing the data, it looked the best when I used 30 versus any number between 1 and 100. I created new Y for whatever date was required and printed the date. If the CP index was not the right one, not within the 4 that was required by the project, a statement just prints that the commodity selection does not qualify for a price prediction.